Hey guys, so the NBA season starts on Wednesday, and I thought this was a really good opportunity to record a video and go through some of the strategies you can follow when it comes to betting on the NBA to make sure that you're profitable this season. I really want everyone to set a target of 100 units profit and then strategically bet to be able to get there. And this is where the first part of it comes in, is I really want you to focus on long term. So betting for the long term and not just trying to get a big win one day, because it's more important to consistently win and win week after week, month after month, than have one good weekend or one good day and then have stacks of losing days around it. If you do that, you're not going to stay consistent with it. You're going to think that it's not going to work, and it's about consistent profit. So to be able to profit long term, these are the things that you need to do. You need to make sure that you're researching every single bet that you're putting on. So a lot of people bet on sports purely from the perspective of, oh, I know this team or I know this player, so I'm just going to back them. Especially with props, people just go down the perspective of always betting like the big players, like the main player from each team. And sometimes like that's a good option to do that because they have a really good matchup, everything aligns, the team that they're versing, what they need to do in order to win. But a lot of the times there's other situations where that's not the case, and if you're just always blindly backing that particular player, then you're probably going to lose money over the long term. And then there's lots of different ways that you can accommodate your bet to be more suitable for that player. And one thing that's really helped me over the years with betting on sports is really thinking about a game as if like you're part of the coaching staff for both sides, and looking at a game of what each team needs to do against that opponent or in order to be winning. When you look at a game from that perspective and you have the data, you have the analytics in order to analyze the game and break it down and see where each team's strengths and weaknesses are, then you can really do that and do it actually easily and efficiently, where it doesn't take a lot of time at all. That's why I made the Bet.Finders available, because there isn't actually any proper research tools to be able to do that in an efficient and easy way for the regular bettor betting on the NBA every single day. So that makes your research process really easy. And when you research, you're actually giving yourself a chance of winning. Without researching, you're just guaranteed to lose long term. So by just adding research in as one of the components that you do no matter what, it's one of my 4 things in the home run system as part of the InvestorBet method, that if you research your bets, that's one thing of the 4 things ticked off. And researching NBA is really, really fun. And by researching, when you look at the game, so say there's like 10 games on the board tomorrow, and so you go through each game. A lot of people just go through each game and find a bet in each game. They're going through and then they end up with at least 10 bets across the 10 games. Sometimes even more, because they'll have like a couple of bets in each of the games. But instead of doing that, I want you to go through and rule out games. Be like, no to that game, no to that game. Oh, this is a good game I'm interested in. No to that one. I'll take this one. And then you end up with a selection of like 2, 3, 4, 5 bets, depending how many games there is. But you're only betting in 20 to 40% of the games. Because if you try and bet in every single one, you're setting yourself up to lose as well. Just by having more action, it's not ideal. You're better off having more selective bets, because that's what's going to help you have a high enough winning percentage in order to be profitable. So really go through, pick your spots, and then bet when the opportunities present themselves, as opposed to forcing like a situation where you can bet. Like going like, oh, well, this kind of doesn't align, but there's only 2 games on the board and I need 2 bets, so I'm just going to bet in this game anyway. Like that's like the scarcity mindset that there's not going to be better opportunities. As a bettor, we get to pick and choose when we bet. We don't need to bet in every single game just because we're going to watch it, or just because there's a market and we've looked at the odds for it, or even like there's a lot of games that I'll spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour researching and then just decide, no, I'm not going to bet into this game, and be totally okay with that. So definitely consider doing that. But definitely pick and choose which games you want to bet into. Don't bet into every single game. And also avoid having lots of bets on a single game, especially when you go down the trajectory of betting onto player props, and especially with the NBA, because you can bet on points, rebounds, assists, 3-point makes, You can also bet on steals, and then you have the milestone markets for all of those as well. Some people I see make the mistake of they're backing like 2, 3, 4, 5 players all in a single game. And when you're doing that, you're kind of setting yourself up to fail because you have so much relying on how the script of that game goes, and not the script of like the game's scripted and what the result's going to be, but the script of the game of which team gets out to a lead, then the other team comes back. A certain side gets off to a good start, a player gets into foul trouble, so it affects the number of minutes they play, and other players on the team get additional minutes, and the game might end up in a blowout because one team just comes out and just can't make a shot. All those things can happen, and if you back 4 different players, you could end up losing all 4 just because the game script goes a different way to the way you are predicting. So when that happens, you just want to only have like the one play on a game, so then you're not dramatically burned, and if you've outlaid 5 units across those 5 bets, you haven't lost all 5 units on one game. Which brings me to my other point is when it comes to your staking, I always recommend to everyone work off a 100 unit betting bankroll. So whatever the amount of money that you're using to bet with, divide that by 100. So if it's $2,000 divided by 100, that'll give you $20 units. Then for NBA especially, just level stake every single bet that you're putting on. So level stake 1 unit, $20 on each bet. If you have a smaller bankroll and you want to try and get a little bit more, build it up a little bit quicker, then you could go 2 units or 1.5 units on each bet. But I don't recommend going higher than that because the reason why is not because like, oh, well, what if you lose lots of bets in the row? That's not really the case. It's more about having an approach that sets you up for long-term profitability. And a lot of people are very erratic with the way they stake their bets, which then sets them up to end up losing like a lot really quickly because they say they have that $2,000 bankroll, and write that up, 2,000, and then they start off well, they're on $20 bets, and then they get on a bit of a winning run and they've suddenly got 2,500 in their account, so they quickly go, oh, well, forget the 20, I'm gonna start doing $50 bets. And then they lose like 3 in a row, and now they've lost 150, and then they lose a couple more in a row. Now they're starting to panic, like, oh, now I've lost 300, I'm back down almost to my 2,000. What am I gonna do from this situation? So then they can end up betting even more. Again, now they're $100 bets, and then the cycle just goes crazy. So what you want to do is keep it at this amount and then only scale, like only reassess your stake at the end of a month. So, first off, what month are we in now? October. So by the end of October, we'll go end of November right now. So 1st of December is when you then reassess how much you're staking on each bet. The other thing this is really, really good for, and especially like with sports, like if you're betting on teams that you follow and you're passionate about, that's one thing. But then also just with betting in general, a lot of people lose, not because they didn't do research, not because they didn't follow the staking, but purely because they're an emotional bettor. And this goes back to the first thing that I spoke about, where it's like, would you rather win money every single year or just have like one good day and you just had a winning day? And I kind of look at it like this for a lot of people. Would you rather win $500 tomorrow, or would you rather win $10,000 over the next 12 months and then make $10,000 next year and $10,000 the year after that? But instead, you could have that, or you could remove all that, trade all that in, just have $500 day tomorrow. A lot of people just go straight, I need the $500 now, and they're in that desperate mindset. I need to win now, tomorrow needs to win no matter what, and then they start chasing and trying to get to that little milestone they had just for tomorrow. And at the end of the day, with betting, one day doesn't matter at all. It's about the long term. Like you can either make money every year or you can lose money every single year. It's only 2 situations, and the people who go for the win one day and I just need to have one big day are the ones who are on that trajectory of losing every single year. And if you stay in that mindset of I've got to win tomorrow, it needs to be a huge day, then you definitely need to switch that around if you actually want to be profitable and not just be in this cycle of depositing to the betting companies over and over again. And when it comes to emotional betting, is the other big thing is being able to handle when the results aren't going your way. There's going to be days where you're going to have 3 bets, and of those 3 bets, you're going to get 0 right and 3 wrong, and all 3 are going to lose. No matter what, no matter how good you are, anything, those days are going to happen, and you need to be okay with those days happening, because on the same threshold, you're going to have a lot of days where you have 3 bets and you go 3 from 3 and get all 3 right, and they're all going to win. And you can't have one without the other. You just want to minimize how often this happens, so that you want to track all your bets. So keep track of everything you're doing, what bets you're putting on, how much you're staking on them, what odds you took, and whether those bets were winning and losing. And then you can always go back through and review. And definitely don't be increasing how much you're betting without tracking and knowing what your results are, how much you're winning, how much you're profiting, and what your profit on turnover is. And you really want to aim for anywhere between, anything above 0% profit on turnover is good because you're making money, but aim for the 5% profit on turnover. This is like a really good number that if you're able to hit that, you can really set yourself up for massive long-term profitability as you scale your total betting bankroll. And generally, a lot of people can easily work between 2 and 8% as like a overall long-term number, but kind of just focus on the 5% right now. And like probably it's getting a little bit advanced. We don't need to go into that too much right now, but definitely track your results, so then you'll have these numbers. And also, when you're tracking your results, keep track of why you put that bet on. So write out a reason why. So then when you go back and look at your results, you can filter all your winning bets, and then be like, okay, what was the research? What was my reason why as to why I put that bet on? And then you'll be able to notice trends. Like when I see this factor and then I bet based on this factor, it wins. Or when I write a really bad reason why that, oh, well, he had a bad game yesterday, I think he's going to bounce back today, and it loses, well, you had a bad reason why you put that bet on. No wonder why it ended up losing. So this is something really, really valuable, especially in the early stages while you're like learning about your researching and about what works and what doesn't work. And at the end of the day, if you want to make what works and what doesn't work really easy to figure out, definitely join the Bet.Finders. I'll put the link in the description. That'll really help you start to understand which bets you should put on and which bets that you shouldn't put on. And then when it comes to the researching, like there's so many different things that you can look at, and like I could probably just stand here for the next 3 hours and go through like 100 different things that you want to look at. Biggest thing is be open-minded. Don't just go down like the track of like look at a game, already know who's playing, and then already pick a team. So it might be like the Lakers versus Warriors, just for example, off the top of my head, and you already think, oh, well, the Lakers are going to win this game because I backed them last start and they're going to win. And then you look for reasons to support that decision. You only look for reasons why the Lakers are going to win that game. And that's just due to the fact that you already had this preconceived idea, and you'll rule out any of the other factors that would push you the other way. So definitely be very, very cautious of doing that. And then when it comes to your overall research process and determining what bets you should put on and what bets you shouldn't put on, always write out the reason why. And then when you're putting the bet on, make sure you shop around to get the best possible odds. Don't just have all your money in SportsBet and then I'm only going to bet with SportsBet, bet with whatever markets they have, and be done with it. If you do that, you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. Sometimes like SportsBet are going to have the best odds, but a lot of the time they're not. And if with so many different betting companies, if you shop around, you'll be able to get an extra 2 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents on each bet. And that might not sound like it's going to make a great deal of difference. Well, I'm only going to win an extra $5 if I, go to the effort and put it on with TAB instead. But when you put on 500 bets, 1,000 bets, 2,000 bets, 5,000 bets over the next few years, each time you put $1 on and it gives you an extra 5 cents back, those are all going to add up, and you're going to have 3,000 winning bets, and each one of those is going to have paid you. And say you're betting $20 on each stake. What's the math to that? 3,000 bets, $60,000, and you're getting an extra 10 cents back on each one that you wouldn't have got if you were just taking the initial odds, that's $6,000 difference. And if it was 5 cents, that's $3,000 extra profit that you have, which probably could have been the difference between you being profitable or being a negative balance. So it's definitely something worthwhile doing. Take advantage of that with what's available. So by following these strategies, you can be profitable betting on the NBA. It is a sport that you definitely need to pay close attention to, monitor the sides. Don't just back a team because you think they're good. You need to weigh up the different situational factors of how they're coming into this game. Pay attention to if they're resting players or any injuries as well. These are all major factors that go into as part of your research process. But I might post some other videos on those over the next few weeks. If you want to follow along with exactly what I'm doing in the NBA so that you're profitable this year, I'll put all the details of how you can do that in the description underneath this video. Thanks guys for watching, and make sure you subscribe